Hello friends, my name is 𝗍𝗶𝗶𝗶 and I'm the host for today. And today is the like we have one member missing, so we should go with the board. And today we will wrap up the sessions a little quicker. So here is your first question, and the first question goes to Vishal. Vishal, you need to tell me about the difference between null and undefined. So null and undefined both are there in JavaScript. You need to tell the difference between them.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, whenever we haven't defined the variable in our code, so and and also we console.log that element. I mean, we print that element. So it will give undefined because we haven't defined that variable previously. So it will give undefined. Or null is something like you can say a value. If we give a null value to any of variables, so like it will source the value of that variable that variable has null value. Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay. So, one follow-up question. If I do type of null and type of undefined, then what these two statements will give us?
I think if we try to extract the type of that null and undefined, so different languages have different things to for that. But if we talk about JavaScript, so I think we will get undefined or null has uh, gave null. I think null type of variable.
Okay. Yeah. So nice guess, but one mistake. Let me clarify because this is a little new thing to us. Type of undefined will give us only undefined because undefined itself is a data type. So type of undefined is give us undefined. But when we try to do type of null, then we will get object in return. And it is an error basically. Like object is not a type. Like yeah. Okay, so moving to Mahin. Mahin, your question is that you need to explain the concept of closures in JavaScript and basically define it and provide one example of how it is used in JavaScript.
Okay, so closure is a function that is a special function, and it is a like a function inside a function. It like a nested function. So it's called as a closure, and it return a function. In if I say example, so we use closure in JavaScript for debouncing. I created one project like a in function, and it return a function. So it call a closure. And for example, it's a debouncing like my function is function, and inside I return another function, so it is the example of closure. This is my answer.
Yeah. So moving to Karan, and there is one more thing that you missed in closure. So we will wrap up it in last. So moving to Karan, Karan, your question is you need to tell me about the concept of async and await. How it does simplify the JavaScript programming, like how it helps us basically async and
Okay,
await.
so I don't know about async and await because it is not covered in my course yet, so I don't know.
Okay, no problem. I have a backup question for you. You need to tell about the difference of prototypical inheritance. Simply discuss the concept of prototypical inheritance and describe how inheritance is implemented using the prototypes.
Okay, so basically, prototypes, like every object in Java, like JavaScript is made up on constructor functions. Okay, it is built on constructor functions. So every constructor function have an object. Inside that object, every object contains prototype, and inside that prototype, we can some method or some values. For example, if I give you example, like if there are two objects. Okay, and first one is a older object, and second one is a newer object, and I want that the older object methods and the properties should be in new object also. So we can use prototype inheritance there. We can just inherit all those values, all those properties of that prototype which is older inside a new prototype, inside a new object. So that is the basic use of prototype inheritance, so that we can inherit those methods and properties of the any object.
Nice, good. Cut to cut example, but try to elaborate your answer more because it was
Okay.
little unclear in between. So
Okay.
no worries. Moving to Supriya, you need to tell me about same question that I asked Karan. What is async await and how does it simplifies our asynchronous coding?
Okay, so Amit, your question is this, that what is async await function in JavaScript? So I'm repeating it. Async await, as the name itself is suggesting, that it helps us to stop some particular function on which async has been applied. It stops that function for a certain period of time, and after all the functions on which async is not applied, those functions get executed, and the function on which async has been applied, that runs after those functions. So it simply means that you are setting a certain period of limit that this function should get uploaded after this. For example, in the websites there are some great images which takes times to get loaded, which can hamper the which can hamper the execution of other codes as well. So you can apply async await there in order to get that particular image get executed afterwards. All the things are getting executed. So it's very helpful in JavaScript because it saves our loading time, and also you can and async is basically applied on a function like async await function, and then inside it you can fetch the data. You can after fetching that data, you can apply that set time interval that this data should be rendered after this period of time. So this is how async await works in JavaScript.
Okay. I was not that much satisfied with your answer because it lacks some technical explanation. So let me reconsider it or rephrase it. However, your answer was little bit correct. So async await is a method through which we can handle the promises mainly, and because whatever method we use, whatever functions we used inside promises we use inside method, then that functions are basically runs as a asynchronous code. So to handle that code or to handle that asynchronous nature, we use async await. Yeah, so somewhere you were right. So moving to Vishal again, tell me about how do you access and manipulate the DOM using JavaScript?
How we can access and manipulate DOM using JavaScript. Yeah. So basically, with the help of JavaScript, DOM basically refers to document object model. In DOM, we have a DOM tree starting from the beginning of our boilerplate code. It goes to the uh, last tag of the code. So basically, with the help of DOM, we have several methods by which we can manipulate or target any of the element, whatever we want to manipulate, or if some changes we want to execute in that. So with the help of DOM's methods, we can do it easily. Yeah, there are several methods or several selectors. With the help of, we can select that particular element with like get element by id, get element by class, get element by tag name. With the help of these, we fetch that, and then we can manipulate that thing according to us, whatever we want to do with that element. Yeah, that's it, I think.
Okay, yeah, fine. You're correct, but try to add more specificness or try to add more examples in your code. Like you could have added one method or multiple method, like how we access and manipulate DOM. Yeah, so those were missing. Yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
Moving to Karan, tell me about the difference between inner HTML and text content properties in JavaScript, and along with that, give me some examples that differentiate between those two.
Okay, so basically there are three properties to manipulate the text inside the HTML. Okay, sorry. So first of all, there is text content or inner text. Both are similar. With the help of text content or inner text, we can manipulate the inner text which anything contains. Like if there is any p tag inside the HTML and we want to manipulate it, or we want that we can add some text after script. We want the dynamic nature, okay, of that text. So that so we can use text content. We can change text content with the help of dot text content. So it is basically used for that. And about inner HTML, so inner HTML is another thing, because with the help of inner HTML, we can change the whole HTML. Like we can change multiple tags. We can change with text content, we can only change one tag, but with the help of HTML, inner HTML, we can change the whole HTML structure. Okay, so that's the basic difference between both the things. With the help of inner HTML, we can change the HTML structure, and with the help of text content or inner text, we can change the inner text of the any text. So that's the basic difference.
Okay. So give me an example of how we use inner HTML and how we use text content.
Okay. For example of inner text. Okay. So whenever, like, if there is I can give example of, okay, if there is any like we are creating any clock or something, okay, and we want to change the time. Okay, so first of all, we will make the function for that, for changing the time, and we will give that property inner text to the element, to the tag which we want to change, which we give in HTML. Okay, the main HTML page. So that time can change dynamically with the help of JavaScript. So in that case, we will use inner HTML and inner text. And for the use of inner HTML, so if we want to change, manipulate the whole HTML page or HTML or the structure of anything, like we are making the multi-product page. It's the best example. If we're creating a multi-product page of something, and from that we want to fetch a single product page, okay, single thing. So for that we will use inner HTML, so that we can choose what is the structure of that basic thing we want from it. So that's how we use inner HTML for the structuring.
Okay. Yeah. So after
If
this
we
example,
want to manipulate
now
many
it is
things.
much clear. Yeah, nice.
Hmm.
So moving to Maheen. Maheen, you tell me about yeah, explain how to handle form submissions using JavaScript. Like you need to describe the processes of capturing form data and then submit it, like while a user submits the form, then how should all these things happen? How do we manipulate form data? Yeah, basically, how do we handle form submitting process?
Okay, so basically, if we need to some information from the user side, so we are creating the form, and the form in we have a inputs, and we need to handle that inputs in a one click. And there is a like a form on submit. We can use like a type submit is a if we use input type submit, so it will create like a button, and on click that we the all data which are available in the there is a input like a name, ID and phone number, so it will go on the submit the button, and on the submit is stored somewhere. If I talk about the, because I am using React, so I know the how to handle form in React. So there is a on form on change, and by this on change we use the function, and by this function we handle data on a state, and on the state basis we use like another state to store that data like a form data, and in that form data we pass one object like an in object we use if we have a name input, so we store like a name, mobile number, and there is something like, and on the submit like a form on submit, and there is a function, and that on the click we can store the our data on the that state. So that how we can handle the form, and after that we can store data where we want. If we want to store in the API by using page post request, page request, so we can store that. And if we want to set in local storage, so we can set by using local storage commands. So this is what I know. What I know.
Nice. Good example and good explanation. Jumping on Supriya. Okay, so Supriya, tell me about the purpose of add event listener method in JavaScript, and explain how do we use it, what parameters it take. Basically, give an example. So first pointer is what are add event listeners method in JavaScript, and a simple explanation of how we can use it.
Okay, add event listeners. So basically in JavaScript, we have got vast areas of whenever we are calling some functions, we apply some functions to be performed on a particular element. But when we don't want to do such long tasks, then we can simply in our JavaScript only, we can write there add event listener to a particular component, and then and there we can write down the function that we want to execute this command on a particular period of time. So this is what add event listener is. It simply adds a event to your component. It can be any type. It can be on click, like on click of this button this should happen, or it can be like mouse hover. Whenever your mouse hovers on certain button, then it can also change to like that. So these are the add event listeners which help to reduce your code, and as well in the line itself you can write the code.
Okay, nice. Little bit clarification. Let me tell you, like add event listener are basically like there are multiple events in JavaScript, and to handle those events, we use add event listener. Add event listener takes two parameters. One is the event, second is the event handler. Event are multiple events we have like click over. Second is the handler, and that handler is a function. So moreover, your explanation was pretty good, but lacking the technical explanation. Yeah, that's all. Moving to Vishal again. Vishal, tell me about the difference between append child and insert before. Append child is a method, and insert before is also a method. So you need to differentiate between those two things.
Yeah, so actually I'm not clear about those, but I'll tell you. Uh, so I think append child is something like from this method, we can append a child in some function, or I'm not sure about it, or just this is just a pure guess. And what second you ask?
Insert before.
Insert before. So just like insert before, it's also a guess that insert before is also used to insert any element before something, like, yeah, it's pure guess. I
Yeah.
don't know about that.
Okay, so your guess was right, but since you lack the information about it, so for that reason, I will explain it a little bit further for you. So as you told that append child is a method that appends something to the DOM. So yeah, it is right. Append child takes one element, a DOM element, and whenever since it is a method, you need to call it on a element. So take element 1 and then call this append child and pass another element. So what it does it takes the parameter element and it appends inside the element that you called it upon. So that is append child, simple. But what insert before does is, insert before, as the name suggests, that it is also used to append some elements inside another element, but it takes second parameter as well. First parameter is your element as usually, but second parameter is the reference. Like it takes another element and it search for that element, the second parameter, inside the parent element, and once it finds it, it then takes your main element and it appends before that targeted element. So this is the main difference between append child and insert before. Yeah, it was new for you, that's why you fumbled. No worries. Going to Karan. Karan, tell me about what are the purposes of using set attribute and get attribute in JavaScript.
Okay. So for talking about the or set attribute. So first of all, for whenever we are creating any new element inside the JavaScript, whenever like we can create elements with the help of JavaScript also. So whenever we are creating any element, like we created P or something. So if we want that it should have the same style as some other element which is already present in HTML. We have given it styling only. So we can use set attributes so that we can set that specific ID or class to that attribute, so that it can it can styled same as the previous HTML tag. So we can use set attributes. So the syntax of set attribute is simple. So we will create an element with the variable name. Then we will choose that variable name dot set attribute inside the bracket. First of all, we will choose what it is. It can be class, it can be ID. So we will choose class or ID. Then comma. Then in another notations, inside notations, we will provide that name of that class or something. Okay, so that's how we can set attribute. And talking about the get attribute. Okay, so I am just giving it a guess. So for getting attribute, so for getting any class or anything from the style sheet, we will use get attribute. So that's
Okay.
it.
So your set attributes were fine. You told it very nicely, but talking about the get attributes, it was a little unclear. So I will suggest you to read upon that and
Okay.
come prepared.
Okay.
So not taking much time, moving to mine. Yeah. So mine, tell me about the difference between set timeout and set interval.
So there is two things like a set timeout and set interval, and the difference between when we set the set timeout, so it's work like for example, if we do console.log hello world and I take a seconds like a 2 seconds, so when I'm refreshed in my web page, so it give a console.log hello world after 2 seconds on and only one time. But I just when I use set interval, so like for example that hello world I set hello world with inside interval, so it and I take a 3 second, so for time for delay, so it will give when I refresh my page, so set timeout give a hello word with set interval, it will give every 3 second and 3 second. But and so by this example the difference between set timeout give the result at a once and at the time which we give, but set timer repeat the task what give a what the time we give. So this is different between set timer to set interval.
Okay, nice, nice. Vishal, pause the recording for a minute. Okay, so mine, your answer were correct, but it was not structured. You should have started with like the definition first, what set interval does or set timeout does, and then you can go on with the differentiations. But you took one thing and then you elaborated that thing and then second thing. So it was little unclear and not elaborated clearly. So that one thing. Otherwise, your explanation was good. That reflects your knowledge. Good. So last round and last participant is 𝗶𝗶. So tell me about what is JSON and how it is used in JavaScript.
I could not recall the proper answer of it. I only
Okay,
know that
for your
it helps you to convert your whole format into JSON format, because JavaScript cannot read the read the read the tags which are not in JSON format. JavaScript can only read the tags and format which is already converted into JSON format. So I only know this much.
okay. So let me explain it for you. What JSON is JSON is a type of data, and it is a special kind of data. Why it is special? Because first of all, JSON stands for JavaScript object notation. It is a kind of object, but it is not similar to object, because in JSON file you have object like structure, but both your keys and values are covered or enclosed with that quotation marks. And why and how JSON is useful? JSON is useful to transfer the data between your client side or your to your server side, or vice versa. JSON is mostly used for that transfer the data mainly because JSON is widely accepted object, or we can say the format of object through which data are transferred through different destination from different sources. So that was JSON and how it is used and why it is used. So we are moving to another section, and this section is guess the output. Yeah, and one
Okay.
more. Yeah. So Karan, you need to guess this question. Simple.
Okay.
Let me describe it first.
It is
One
loading.
is
It
a
is loading.
variable
Wait.
having. Okay.
No,
Yeah, I guess
yeah.
it is loaded. One
Yes,
is
yes.
a variable having one object, key and value. Another variable b and having the same key and the same value. No change. And console log a equals to b. Triple equal to check. Tell me the output.
Okay. So it will give because it will give true, I think.
Final output.
I think it is tricky question. Let me think. Wait. Okay, so A and B. If A and B is equal, it is equal, yeah. Yes, it is
Okay.
equal. It will
So
give
I
true.
guess you lack the knowledge of parsed by value and parsed by reference. So here what does is, since objects, functions, and arrays are special data types, I mean, they are non-primitive data types. So what happens is, just to save the memory, JavaScript does is whenever it sees that two objects are similar or the same, then it has only one instance of that in the memory, and whichever variable is taking, I mean, pointing to that same variable is just it just give the address to that. Like you have only one value or one data type, and it just gives the address of that value to other variables. So here A is pointing to the same object and B is pointing to the same object. But since these two are actually not having the same data, that's why it will give us value. But if you have only the primitive data types, like only any string or array, then those two things will give us very different data. So that was it.
So
Hope you have.
what is the output of this then?
It will give us false, unfortunately.
False.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah. So next question is for Supriya. Yeah, Supriya, give me this.
Okay. Meanwhile, please pause the recording.
Yeah.
Okay. So the question is of promises, in which it is taking a new promise, which has two parameters, resolve and reject, and set timeout is of 1000, which means 1 second. And if it gets resolved, then definitely we should see a resolve over there after 1 second. And before it, we will see end of the script, because in the script itself there is there is no set timeout. So firstly, there will be end of script, then there will be resolve displayed.
Yeah, absolutely. The output is correct. So let me give you a little explanation of that, because your explanation was not that clear. The promises here, the promises is created, but promises is consumed or executed here. So first line is this, the execution, first line of execution. But since, as we know that this is promises, it will take time. Inside set timeout, it will, I mean, we have declared that 1 second it will take. So since it is asynchronous in nature, it will go to web API. If it will go to simply event loop, and since JavaScript is not holding the execution, it will directly move to the second line. And here we have only one console log statement. It will console log first, and then whenever our promise is resolved, since it is resolving after 1 second, so after 1 second we will get the result. So end of script, result. Nice. So moving to Maheen, your question is this. You can pause the recording meanwhile.
Okay, so I am here with my answer, but maybe it's not, maybe it will be not correct. So first, there is a function resolve after 2 seconds, and in this you return a promise, and it will take 2 seconds. So after 2 seconds, it will print, and after async function, you console.calling, and after it, and last console is end. So and before that you call that function, so it will call and it will goes to that function console.log calling. So first it print calling, and after that a const result, but result is a result equal to await result after 2 seconds. So it will take a 2 second, as I say previously. So it will not print result at that time. So it will print and after that it will print result after 2 seconds. So this is my guessed output.
Yes, your answer was right and your expectation was also right. Let me rephrase it a little bit more clearly. Since these functions and async calls are not executions, these are declarations, so nothing will gonna happen. But when the execution reaches here, async call, now it is a call. So we go to the function. First, console log is there, obviously, so calling will be there. After that, we are awaiting this function invocation. So this is a function invocation. We again go to the function declaration. Here we are returning one promise and this. But since it is a promise, it will take time and the time is given here. So it will wait. Since it is waiting there, the execution is not will wait for the result. It will go for the next line. Since this console log is still waiting because it hasn't resolved, we go to this end and end will be there. And after 2 seconds, when we have our result value, this await will declare it inside result. I mean, store it inside result. And then after that, we will have our result. And it is a very good example of how async function works and how it is different from normal function. This is normal function. This is async function. So async function will wait, but till then execution should not stop. So it will first end console log end, and then it will print the next result. Yeah. So your answer was right. Moving to Vishal. So Vishal, your question is this. Yeah, hope you can see it.
Yeah, please pause the recording. Yeah, so I'm sorry, I'm not able to solve it. Yeah.
Yeah, but since you have to answer it, like give me a guess only. You have two console logs, start and end. So either of them will obviously go first, and then the second will go second.
Yeah,
So according.
but I'm sorry, I'm not able to guess.
Okay, no worries. So let me solve it. Since we have one function declaration, so we will not see it until we comes to this thing. So second line, we see a simple console log. And since functions are not executed when executions reach it, so we should not touch it. We should look for the function declaration. So here the function function invocation. So here function invoke. So but before that we have one console log, and console logs log starts. So first log will be start as it is. After that we are invoking this function. This function is delay, and then the parameter is 200. Now we go to that function, and that function is taking one parameter milliseconds, and then it is returning one promise. So this whole thing will return a promise. So we are expecting that a promise will be here. After that promise, we are resolving it using this then method. So we are resolving it, and then we are console logging end. So after that, we obviously can expect one end console log here. So this was example. Hope you understood. And yeah. So with this thing, I guess we have completed our session. So it was a very good session, I hope. And some little improvement or feedback I can give it to you all is that your answers were very exactly true and valid. But what you lack is the technical explanation. So I would advise you to work on that, because somewhere your answer was good, but since you are not technically elaborate to the other person, then they might think that it is your lack of knowledge. But you are not lacking the knowledge, you are lacking the skill of elaborating the answer. So that one thing I would advise you. And with that, I say you goodbye for today, and tomorrow we will meet you with another interviewer with some interesting and hard questions.
Bye, guys.